Ryan here with longrangeonly.com. In this video, we're going to talk about the Sightron S6 5 to 30 power scope. This should be short and sweet. There's getting to be a lot of scope options on the market, and distinguishing one from another is getting pretty hard, but I'll try to do my best. This one is in an MOA version, and I'll try to drop a picture of the reticle in up here. Right out of the gate, the only thing that I don't love about this scope is the size. It's pretty long, at 16.7 inches, I believe. I'll put the specs on the scope up here as well, so you can look at those. It's a big scope. It's not something I would put on a compact backcountry hunter, but for something where size doesn't really matter, which realistically is most of your hunting rifles, and especially just your range guns where you still want good glass, this is something you should consider. Now, if you do need to compact, obviously there's other options out there. So let's go ahead and walk through it and talk about what I do like about it. So this one is a 34 millimeter tube, right around 33 ounces. Like I said, it's a 5 to 30 power scope. It does come with a throw lever that I do not have on here. It comes with these flip up eye pieces, which I don't typically use, but we have been using them on this rifle this season. It does have illuminated reticle with on-off switches, every in between all of the on switches, which is how I prefer an illuminated reticle to be. I don't typically use illuminated reticles, so I could take it or leave it, but if you have to have one, this is how it should be. The diopter is out here on the end, which is where I prefer it to be. Most scopes are like this. My favorite scope, the Night Force scopes, are not, and I do prefer this over the other style. Okay. The turrets, they're 20 MOA per rev. The internal adjustability, I believe, is 80 minutes, which is a little bit on the low side compared to some other options out there, but for most situations, you're not going to use more than 80, especially if you put it on a 20 MOA rail, which is what most guys are running these days. The turrets are very nice, and Sightron has always had very nice turrets on their upper end scopes. Okay, so you can hear them there probably. They're very nice, very tactile feeling. You're never going to get lost. They're some of the best turrets out there. It does have what has become the standard zero stop. Like most scopes these days that have it, you just take this turret cap off, and then there's an adjustment underneath where you just turn it against a stop and then reset it. Like I said, 34 millimeter main tube, and we looked at the reticle. The reticle it's a pretty good reticle. I like that Sightron has gone to the 1 minute instead of some of the other options where they're 2 minutes. The 2 minutes is just too big, and 1 minute in between subtensions is perfect in my opinion. The glass has always been great with Sightrons, and this is no different. I've done a lot of testing with the clarity and low light capability. Now, my eyes are not getting any younger. I don't know if that makes me more or less qualified to give my opinion on how good the glass is. In some ways, I probably can't see a lot of sharpness or clarity that other individuals that are much younger than me could see. But in other instances, the fact that some of the scopes out there just don't have great glass makes it harder for me to see. So if it doesn't have good glass, it is getting harder for me to see, especially in low light conditions. I have directly compared it to the Acura from Revic and the NX8 amongst some others, but I've spent the most time directly comparing it to those, and they are very, very similar. It would be hard for me to say one is better than the other. Now, obviously, that's going to be a little bit less than what I would consider the alpha tier glass, like the Swarovskopes or the Collis, the ATAC-R, but at the price point, it's pretty good. I've been running the Sightrons off and on for probably the past 15 years. Back when I first started into long range hunting and shooting, the S3 was one of the only affordable options out there to me. A Schmidt & Bender was way out of my price range, and realistically there weren't a lot of other long-range shooting options other than the NXS at the time. And before we got zero stops and quote-unquote high-speed turrets and stuff, the Sightron S3 stacked up very well. Now, I've never broken one, and I've tried both on purpose and not on purpose, and I've never broken one. The tracking has always been spot on. Again, with any scope, you should check tracking. Some of them do have a little bit of a divergence from what they're supposed to be, which can all be put into a calculator. I'm not going to get into that with this. Tracking was within a reasonable error for me, and it dialed, or the shot impacts are always where I expect them to be based on what I dial versus what the ballistic calculator says. So I really think that's it. Let's try to distinguish this from other scopes. The price has gone up a little bit since I first got this. I do believe, I could be wrong, but it's in the mid to upper 1800s for the MSRP. You can probably find them on the street a little bit less, and that kind of puts that in a weird spot price-wise. It's less than the Night Force models. It's a little bit more than some of the Maven models, but right in line with some of the other Maven models. It's more than the Zeiss V4 line. I know a lot of people are going to hate on me for saying this, but I would put this right in quality-wise with the NXS and the NX8. I've tried to break them. I can't break one, and tracking is excellent. Glass is on par. I would say glass is a little bit better than an NXS. Now, I really do like the 5 to 30, so that is a plus. The 30 power is going to make it better than some of those 5 to 25 or 6 to 24s or whatever. It's not quite as good as the NX8 as far as the 4 to 32, but 5 to 30 is definitely usable, and I really like the higher power. With it being this one is the first focal plane. They also make it a second focal plane, but with it being a first focal plane, if you get to where you need to dial it down, just dial it down, and your subtensions are still the same. Turrets, I really do like these. The NXS and the Night Force in general have become my favorite turrets, but these are very, very nice turrets. I definitely would not stop me from buying it. So the glass quality, the durability, the reticle, they're all in line with the scope that I would want or compare this to. The price is a little bit cheaper than those Night Forces. The only thing holding it back is the size. This is about an inch longer, inch and a half longer than the ATAC-R, and maybe 3 inches, I think 2.5 to 3 inches longer than like an NX8. So if it's in your budget and you just can't stretch to what I would consider nicer scopes or more expensive scopes, then you should definitely look at this, especially if the size is not going to be something that's going to bother you. Again, durability's there, the glass quality is there, the turrets are there, has a good reticle. All of the parallax adjust, the zoom adjust rings are very, very smooth. They're not too stiff, they're not too weak. The diopter adjustment is great. It is definitely a scope worth it. And I would say probably, again, that $1,800 to $1,900 range is kind of in a no man's land, but it's going to be one of the best options sub $2,000 if you can get over the size. I'll have a link in the description below to a thread on the forum. You can head on over there and ask me any questions that I didn't get answered. If you're not a member, it's quick, it's free, it's easy to sign up, and we would love to have you. There's a lot of great information on the site. You can go check out that, or you can just come by to ask me questions. Either way, like I said, it's quick, it's free, it's easy to sign up, and we would love to have you on the forum. Like the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and turn on notifications so you'll be notified of future videos. We appreciate you taking the time to watch. Have a great day.